and welcome back to Reason News. Our top story today is the highly anticipated 2025 budget speech delivered by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana in Parliament. In a move that will affect every South African, the minister announced that the value-added tax or VAT will remain at 15%, reversing earlier plans for an increase. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana rose to address a packed parliament, presenting the third iteration of the 2025 national budget. This budget comes after weeks of intense debate and political wrangling, especially concerning a proposed hike in VAT that had sparked widespread concern among citizens, businesses, and coalition partners. The decision to keep VAT unchanged follows significant pressure from opposition parties, trade unions, and the public, who argue that any increase would place an undue burden on already struggling households. Minister Godongwana began his speech by confirming that the VAT rate will remain at 15%. He acknowledged the intense debate surrounding the proposed increase, which had created uncertainty in the market and among consumers. Here's a video from the SABC News.
Madam Speaker, a national budget is not merely an accounting exercise measuring what we earn and what we spend and what we borrow as a nation. It is a reflection of the difficult trade-offs needed to balance fiscal sustainability while simultaneously addressing the developmental goals. It is unsurprising then that the increase to value-added tax proposed on March 12 created so much debate. A vital debate, no doubt, but one that also created some uncertainty. There's clarity now that will remain at 15%. The decision reflects our commitment to listen to South Africans and to all the political parties represented in this House. Today's budget has taken these views into account. This is what the past 2 months have provided, valuable lessons that will inform how we manage the budget process moving forward. The reality, however, is that the decision to do away with the VAT increase without a viable alternative source of revenue significantly reduce our ability to fund additional government programs and projects to the extent we had deemed necessary. Nevertheless, this budget supports sustainable finances, the social wage, investment in economic growth. This is not an austerity budget. It's an expansionary budget. It increases non-interest expenditure by an average of 5.4% over 3 years. In real terms, this is a 0.8% growth. It is also a redistributed budget. It directs 61% of every rand of consolidated non-interest expenditure towards the social wage.
The debate surrounding the proposed VAT increase on March 12th was intense and significant, creating some uncertainty. However, we now have clarity. VAT will remain at 15%. This decision demonstrates our commitment to listening to South Africans and all political parties represented in the House, the minister explained. The minister also went on by explaining that the decision not to increase VAT will help contain inflation and boost consumer spending, providing relief to retailers and manufacturers. By not increasing VAT, the government faces an estimated revenue shortfall of around 75 billion rand over the medium term. To address this gap, the minister announced spending cuts totaling 69.4 billion rand over 3 years, with key departments such as education, health, home affairs, and Transnet bearing the brunt. These cuts fill most of the gap left by the scrapped VAT hike, But the slower economic growth means the National Treasury will have around 62 billion rand less revenue to work with over the next 3 years. To help offset the lost revenue, the minister announced an inflation-based increase to fuel taxes, ending a 3-year freeze. Petrol levies will rise by 16 cents per litre and diesel by 15 cents per litre effective from 4th of June 2025. The Road Accident Fund levy remains unchanged at R2.18, while the carbon fuel tax levy will see the same 3-cent increase as in previous budgets. This means the combined tax increase is 18 to 19 cents per litre, bringing total taxes to R6.37 for petrol and R6.24 for diesel, about 30% of the total fuel price. The minister painted a sobering picture of South Africa's economic outlook. Growth projections have been revised downward, with the economy expected to expand by only 1.4% this year, down from the 1.8% forecast in March. The global economy is facing heightened trade tensions and policy uncertainty, which further clouds the local outlook. Despite these challenges, the South African rand experienced a slight appreciation following the announcement, reflecting positive market sentiment and investor confidence in the government's decision. The minister emphasized that this is not an austerity budget. He highlighted that 61 cents of every rand of consolidated and non-interest expenditure is directed towards the social wage, funding free basic services like electricity, water, education, healthcare, affordable housing, and social grants for those in need. The budget invests over 1 trillion rand in critical infrastructure to lift economic growth prospects and improve access to basic services, the minister added. The Congress of South African Trade Unions, or COSATU, welcomed the decision to keep VAT at 15%, calling it a positive moment in South Africa's democratic evolution. However, they expressed the concern that the budget may not provide the stimulatory effect the economy desperately needs. COSATU also called for additional measures to cushion indigent households from poverty, such as expanding free electricity and water. The decision to scrap the VAT increase was a major win for opposition parties and coalition partners, who had warned that any hike would worsen the financial strain on consumers already battling high unemployment and inflation. The revised budget reflects the challenges of governing in a coalition environment where compromise and consensus are essential to pass major fiscal measures. For businesses and consumers, the decision to keep VAT at 15% provides immediate financial relief. Retailers and manufacturers can expect a boost in consumer confidence and spending, while households will not face additional tax burdens at the till. Economists note that the reversal of the VAT hike is a positive step for consumer sentiment, but warn that the government will need to explore alternative revenue measures and possibly revisit other expenditure decisions to maintain fiscal sustainability. The Minister of Finance has written to the Speaker of the National Assembly to indicate that he is withdrawing the Appropriation Bill and the Division of Revenue Bill in order to propose expenditure adjustments to cover the revenue shortfall. Parliament will be requested to adjust expenditure in a manner that ensures the loss of revenue does not harm South Africa's fiscal sustainability. The Minister expects to introduce a revised version of these bills within the next few weeks. The 2025 budget speech has brought clarity and relief to millions of South Africans by keeping VAT at 15%. While this decision comes at a cost, spending cuts and higher fuel taxes, it reflects the government's commitment to listening to its citizens and maintaining fiscal responsibility. The road ahead remains challenging, but yesterday's announcement provides a measure of certainty in uncertain times. Until next time, stay informed, stay updated, and stay curious.